9 to 5. That's the way to make a living, right? Wrong. Who wants to do that? But unfortunately, most of us will spend over 90,000 hours in our lifetime slaving away at a job. So how do you break free from the 9 to 5? Today, I'm going to show you how to take the first step, no matter what it is that you decide to do with your life. Check this out. Welcome to the Power of Quiet, helping you achieve your personal freedom and happiness every single day in your life. And if you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification, because here we do things totally different. We don't just talk about these topics and just talk and talk and talk and talk. We get right to the point. We show you exactly how to do it, how to unlock your personal freedom and unlock your happiness. And we show you how to do it yourself. Now, let's take a look at something that really affects our personal freedom and happiness, and that's having to work for a living. Now, Lester Levinson, the physicist and free one, has said on a number of occasions that work is for slaves, that working for a living, it's a slave consciousness where we are groveling for a paycheck so that we can put food on the table, so that we can keep a roof over our head. And it's this mentality of putting ourselves to work so that we can sustain our lives, that is keeping us a slave. And nobody outside of us is doing this. It's all within our own head. Now, when I first learned this method, I'd been laid off from my job like about 6 months prior. And in this method, I learned to use these tools to find an alternate way of sustaining my life, to have my life thrive by letting go, by releasing my negative feelings, my concepts of limitation, and thereby proving to myself the abundance and harmony of the whole universe, and that it's connected to me. And when I get out of the way and just come from a place of love, that harmony just sinks in, abundance shows up, and that's just a whole different paradigm of living. There's no working, no slaving involved. Basically, what this shows all of us is that we are a master, and this whole reality is all in our head. And if we could just change our thinking and get rid of the thinking that limits us, we would see that. It would be self-obvious to us. Now, over the years of practicing this method and teaching it, I've seen that one of the biggest hang-ups to really stepping into this new reality of no longer being a slave to work is the fact that we flat out hate working for a living. We hate having to set an alarm every morning, having to get up, having to do the same repetitive tasks over and over again, having to stare at the same four walls around us, most of us, at least 5 days a week. And we have to commit a significant portion of our life into this activity. Over 90,000 hours on average, having to work for a living. So over the years that I've been practicing this and teaching it, the number one thing that I've seen get in people's way who want to move beyond this sad existence into the empowered, true reality of yourself is this loathing, this hatred for working. And the reason why this stops us is simply because of how the mind works. You see, the mind, it's a creative instrument. And the mind, it works only in pictures. So, for example, if I say don't fall down, what do you get a picture of? Falling down, right? The mind doesn't process the words not or don't. It just goes straight to the picture. And whatever we hold in mind, we manifest. Whatever we lock onto, we create. And I think for most of us, this is becoming more and more obvious, that what we dwell on is what becomes our reality. And most of us, when we are hating work, we don't want to do it, what are we picturing in our mind? Working. That awful job. And therefore, it is our reality. And we're creating it. Now let me show you how to take the first step to step beyond and put yourself in a position where you can discover for yourself a whole new reality. All right, so check this out. We're also going to look at the mind again and see how it operates. You see, the mind, if you really look closely at it, all it is a recording and playback machine. That's all it does. You notice that? That voice in your head that's always talking to you, that's always giving you advice, that's always telling you what to look out for, that's always telling you what you want, what's really good. You know, it's always talking to you. Look at it. Pay attention to it very, very closely here. And notice everything that it tells you, like everything that it's telling you right now, chances are it's told you in the past. It's told you over and over and over again. It just replays those same sounds over and over. And it'll keep feeding you that same information over and over and over, keep telling you the same stuff you've already heard, like a broken record. So when you examine your mind and look at it from this perspective, that all it is a recording and playback machine. You see, there's no real intelligence in there. It's just recording everything and then it plays it back to you. And it doesn't erase anything. And there's a lot of garbage that's recorded and it's playing it back to you. A bunch of negative stuff. Stuff that tells you that you can't, that you're no good, that you should feel guilty, that you should be afraid. Garbage information. And from the neck up, nothing gets erased. But where you can erase things is from the neck down, from your stomach and chest area. So I'm going to show you how to erase your feelings about having to work for a living, those negative feelings that are keeping you stuck, so that you can open yourself up into a higher intelligence that's beyond your mind, that can give you those answers to the harmony and abundance that you're looking for. All right, so check this out. Think about having to work for a living. Think about having to continue doing your job. Maybe it's a job that you're doing right now that you hate. Or maybe you're a professional, self-employed, maybe you have your own business. And in that sense, you have a lot more freedom and power. But notice, if you've ever been in a situation in which things haven't gone so well for you, business-wise, financially, and you had to think, oh gosh, am I going to have to go get a job now? And those thoughts, that, I don't want to do that, that inevitably pulls you towards having to do that. So think about having to have that job for the rest of your life. Now, remember, from the neck up, it's just a recording and playback machine. And from here, we can erase all of that garbage, all that negativity that just spins around in our head. So what I want you to do is just think about this job Now close your eyes and put your head down toward your stomach or chest. And notice if you have this clinging, cringy, clutchy feeling like, ugh, God, I hate that. Kind of a contraction or tightness. Just notice if you have any sort of tightness in your stomach or chest. You notice that? Now what I want you to do is just open up an imaginary window or door right in front of that energy. And imagine that energy now moving right on out that door. Just imagine that energy just leaving right on through. Whatever that looks like to you. You might see it as smoke or light or bubbles, whatever, or butterflies, whatever. There's no wrong way to do this. Just imagine that energy going right on out the door, just leaving. And watch it leave even more. And 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 notice how you feel now. Just notice if you feel a little bit lighter. You notice that? See, that's showing you that you're moving in the right direction. That lighter feeling is showing you that you can let go of that hateful energy. Now, bring up some more. Wherever that was coming from, just call up some more and open up that door. And imagine that energy just going right on out that door. And even more. And even more. And even more. And notice how you feel now. Now just notice again, if you feel lighter, that's all we're looking for, is just a lighter feeling. That's proof that you're moving in a positive direction. And notice if you feel calmer, more peaceful, and more quiet. Just notice if your mind is more quiet. All right, and that's not so bad. Now, let's take it a step further and take a look at what you're creating with your attitude towards that job. Now take a look at something you don't like about having to work for a living. Maybe it's making money for somebody else while you take a very small portion, a very small paycheck for all that work that you do. Or maybe it's just the fact that you have to set the alarm at 7:45 every morning or even earlier, or whatever else that you don't like about your job. Maybe it's the people that you work with. Maybe it's having to do the same monotonous tasks again and again and again. All right? You got that? Now, take a look. Notice. You're disapproving of it. You're like, ugh, I don't like it. Right? And that's your attitude. That's your decision to say, I don't like you. Now, if this isn't proof that we create our own reality, notice how you feel when you have this attitude. You feel pretty rotten, right? And the more you dwell on it, the worse you feel. And guess what? You're creating that. And notice what you're holding in mind. That problem, having to work for a living, that's always on your mind. And since your mind is a creative instrument, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You can't get out of it because you're creating it. Now, If you're doing it, if you're disapproving of your job, and number one, it's keeping you stuck, and two, it's keeping you feeling miserable, and three, you're doing it because it's your decision, your attitude, how smart is that? So now you have a decision. I'm going to be positive and love this job, or I'm going to be negative and beat it up, disapprove of it. Now, which do you prefer? Which is the smarter decision? Would you rather be positive and loving, or would you rather be hateful and miserable? I'm assuming that love is the better solution here, right? Isn't that what you prefer? Now, if you're doing it, if it's just your attitude that's creating the negativity, then you're in charge and you can turn it around. So first, could you let go of disapproving of that job? It's just a decision, yes or no. Now you see what you get by disapproving of it, and that's no fun. So now could you let that go? And could you let go disapproving of it a little bit more? And could you let go disapproving of it even more? And could you let go disapproving of it even more? And could you let go disapproving of it even more? And even more. And even more. And could you let go disapproving of it even more? And even more. And even more. And even more. Now notice how you feel. Do you feel even lighter? All right, now, since positive doesn't hurt anything, because I know the mind will say, well, wait a minute, if I love my job, then I'm just going to be supporting it. I'm going to be giving into it. I'm going to just give up and allow it to take over. But look at it this way. Positive doesn't hurt anything. Love feels good, right? There's nothing wrong with loving. So, check this out. And you're going to discover something awesome if you try this out. Could you give that job now a little bit of love and approval? And again, it's just a decision. Yes or no? And could you give that job a little bit more love and approval? Now, if you find yourself stuck, like, I can't, all that means is that you're still beating it up. You still don't like it. All right? So we're going to pause here for a second. If you're stuck now, let's go back to what we were doing a moment ago. Now, could you let go disapproving of it? Because where does that get you? Nowhere but feeling lousy. And you're doing it, right? So could you let go disapproving of it now? And could you let go disapproving of it a little bit more? And could you let go disapproving of it even more? And could you let go disapproving of it even more? And even more. And even more. And how does that feel? Is that better? Does that feel more like a weight has been lifted off of you? And see, you did it. You lifted that weight off. And it's like if you're driving a car and you're trying to step on the gas, but you have your other foot on the brake, you're not going to go anywhere. So what you did by letting go of the disapproval, it's taking your foot off the brake. So now let's step on the gas. Could you give that job some love and approval? Just love it. Why not? And could you give it some more approval? And could you give it some more approval? And some more. And even more. And even more. And could you give it a little bit more love and approval? And let go of resisting the job now. Just open yourself up to it. Like opening up with loving arms. Even allowing yourself to be vulnerable to it. Now just see right now if you have any resistance. See, it's more this brake. You know, we're still have our foot on the brake a little bit. All right, you feeling any resistance to that? Having to work? Going again tomorrow, probably. Now that resistance, it's a feeling. Now welcome this feeling up, because notice what happens most of the time when we encounter this resistance, this feeling. We want to push it down, right? We feel this feeling of resistance. It's kind of a harsh, negative feeling. It gets in our way. It drains us of energy. And we're like, get out of here. I don't like you. And when we push down that resistance, when we say no to that resistance, does that make the resistance go away? No. In fact, it only makes it worse. So since saying no to the resistance doesn't work, let's do something completely different. Look at that resistance. Welcome it up. And could you say yes to that resistance? It's just a feeling. That's all. Just a feeling. Could you say yes to it? And could you say yes to that resistance even more? And could you say yes to it even more? And could you say yes to it even more? And even more. Now just open up and allow that resistance, allow that energy, that feeling to just move right on out the door. Just watch it evaporate and dissolve. Just watch it leave. Just out into quiet, out into space, out into beingness. Open up and just watch it dissolve away even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And again, take a look at that job, or take a look at having to work for a living. And could you give that whole idea love and approval? Just love it. It's your decision. Could you be okay with it? And could you be okay with it some more? And love it some more. And decide that even if you had to do it for the rest of your life, that you could be happy anyway. That's your decision. It's not up to your job. It's not up to anybody else. It's your decision. Because when it comes right down to it, that's the indisputable truth. You are in charge. Everything is your decision. And it's your attitude that affects not only how you feel, but affects what happens around you, what you create in your reality. So don't give your power away to that job. Don't give your happiness away to it. Make that decision. Could you be happy despite what's going on? Could you be happy even if you had to work that job for the rest of your life? And decision. It's a decision, yes or no. And look at what you're doing for yourself when you make that decision. You're giving yourself the gift of happiness right now. And just notice how you feel. Did you make the decision? And do you feel lighter? Do you feel more loving? Now this is the first step that creates a shift that turns everything around for you. And this has been one of my big secrets. And this isn't something that I did like automatically right away to be okay, to love work. I had to work on it. I had to continue digging up my feelings. But in doing so, this has been a key factor that has enabled me for the past 15 years plus not to have to have a job, to do only what I want to do. And I genuinely had the feeling that, one, if I didn't make any money, if I didn't make a living, if I wasn't successful, that's okay. And two, if I had to work really, really hard just to make a living, that's okay too. I don't have to be the captain of my own ship. I don't have to be free of working for a living to feel good about myself. I really feel that way. And that feeling just comes from digging out this attitude. The decisions in the past to hate the job, and now in the present turn that around and turn it into loving the job. So practice this. Turn this around. Let go of all your negative feelings. Say yes to them. Watch them leave. And watch what shows up when you let them all go. And see what's possible for you when you are okay with doing it. Truly okay. Not just mentally okay, but truly feeling like it's okay. It doesn't matter. That is a position of freedom. And that's what you hold in your mind. Therefore, when you have freedom in your mind and in your feeling, then freedom shows up in your world. Just watch what happens. Whatever opportunity is right for you will show up, even if it's just effortlessly landing right into your lap. All the abundance in the world. So practice this and share what you discover. Share what you feel about yourself and about your work. How you were before and how you are after. Let me know in the comments below. All right? And until next time, happy releasing. I'll see you on the next video.